Art Brown here with Duane Price. We are at the OPA Summit Invitational in Farmington, Pennsylvania. This shoot is put on by Levi and Smith Morgan. It's the very first one of its type. Really unique venue, and when I say unique, it's we're shooting 3D animals with dots on it, out to 80 yards. We have cuts, uphill shots, downhill shots. First time I've ever done anything like this. I think it's really interesting to bring the field, spot shooters, 3D archers all together. I mainly shoot 3D archery. Duane shoots many more forms of archery. You shoot dots, field.
Exactly.
Duane has won, 2 or 3 indoor tournaments this year?
Yeah, 3. I won 3 and took second at Vegas.
Okay. So, what do you think about this format? I mean, it's really new to all of us. It's kind of interesting.
I think it's great. And the reason why I say that is because I've been doing this for over 20 years, traveling to national tournaments and actually overseas. And when we had our meet and greet last night, I looked around through the whole venue, or all the people that were there at the dinner, and I saw every type of archer out there. I saw guys that were typically 3D guys, known for 3D. I saw guys like Mike Schlosser, who was over here. He flew all the way over to Pond to shoot this tournament. I see a lot of FIDA guys that typically shoot, flat ground, FIDA 50 meters, and they're out there too. And so everybody, I think, is on the same page as they looked at this as a venue that kind of highlights and promotes archery and gives professional archers an opportunity to go out and show what they can do and to kind of showcase it and not just be this fraction of 3D versus spot versus this versus that. Like you said, we had wind to contend with today. We had some shots that we had some really good wind that was very tricky. One time the windsock was blowing left, next it's right, next it's right behind you. I saw a couple arrows that when the wind was right behind him, the guy shot 2-3 inches higher. I think it was like at a 63-yard deer or elk or something like that, or whatever it was.
Wind shear.
Yeah, and it moved from side to side quite a bit. You really had to watch your bubble. You really had to know what your cuts are. And like one of the nice things about this tournament was when you shoot like an ASA or an IBO, you have to guess the yardage. So we stand there for a few minutes, looking at it, judging it, thinking, 41, 42, maybe 43, 42 and a half. Here, everybody got up on the stake, clicked. My cut on my target, say, was, on my rangefinder, was 41.4. All of a sudden, you said, well, I'm getting 41.8. And the other guy says, well, I'm getting 41.5. And so what was cool about it is that we all helped each other. It wasn't like me against the world or anything. Everybody sat there and clicked and said, what'd you get? And then based on what your sight tape was, your style of shooting, do you shoot with the dot above the pin? Do you cover up the dot? Do you over the dot? However your style of shooting is, then you adjust it accordingly to try to give yourself your best opportunity of hitting that 12 or that elusive 14. And today, as you know, not a lot of guys shot for 14s. I heard a lot of stories that there were, like for myself personally, I shot at 114. I mean, how many did you shoot at? 1, okay. And I heard a couple guys that shot at like 11, 12, 13, 14, almost shot at every 14. And they only hit maybe 3.
Yeah, you get in that game, live by the 14, die by the 14.
Yeah, exactly.
You shoot at them first 2 and you don't get them.
Now you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
And plus what's cool about this venue too is that, say, you're in a group of guys that you think are probably going to be there. They're going to be in a hunt at the end of the game, right? And all of a sudden he shoots a 14 or a 12. And you're like, all right, I better go for a 14 or if I want to try to, get ahead of them. But it's early in the game yet. Because this is a 2-day tournament. We only shot half the targets. We don't know what tomorrow's going to hold for sure. The rain. Could be windy. It could be dead calm. It could be, the lighting, because we're going to shoot a little bit earlier than what I started today. I started at noon.
What time do we shoot tomorrow?
I'm guessing, because of what Levi said last night at the dinner, that the top 10 groups are going to start out first, with the number 10 going out first. So if I believe they start at 8 o'clock and they go out in 10-minute intervals, I believe because I believe you and I are going to be in the top group, I think we're going to be starting around that 9:30 mark.
Yeah,
give or take.
I didn't know if you meant for the open expert or how that's going to work.
I think
the women and the men and the seniors going to be on the same range.
I think you might like today we were kind of intertwined a little bit with the Manufacturers Cup and everything.
That's right.
So I think we're going to be kind of thrown in there. So I'm thinking around 9:30 to 10 o'clock we're probably going to be heading out. And one thing he did that I thought was a really good way to do it was he had us go out last. When I say us, just because we happen to be probably in the first tier group. So people will see what we're doing, and so they can't sit behind us and look and say, oh man, he just shot an 8, I'm just going to shoot a center 10 because I can pick up 2 points. So I think he did it a fair way. And because I've been in other tournaments and stuff like the Big Sky Open, and the top group always went out last. So everybody shot, and then the top group came out, and if these guys could make pick up some points and stuff, then it was up to us to try to maintain or keep it going. Whoever was in that top tier.
Okay. So here's what I found really interesting in this tournament. Somebody asked me, like, who's got the advantage? Is it the spot shooters who are used to aiming at dots? Is it the field shooters who are used to playing wind? A lot of those guys are shooting smaller arrows. Is it the 3D guy that knows how to where to miss? Let's put it that way. And I was asked that quite a bit, and I said, I don't know. Some of them dot shooters, such as yourself and field shooters, they shoot so good. I don't feel like I'm the best shooter, but I said, I miss. I got to miss in a 10 somehow. Although I did shoot some low 8s, and so I don't know who had the advantage. And people said, "Are you going to shoot 14s?" I don't know. For me, it's situational.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I started out with 412, so it really took a lot for it. I didn't even think about some of them early 14s. Cause I'm not going to bury myself, so I had a great start. So that's my situation was I got a good score going. Don't give it back.
Exactly.
So
exactly. I mean, my first arrow out of the bow today was an 8. And then one of the guys in my group shot a 12, which I know is a really fierce competitor. And so immediately, right after the first target, I felt like I was behind the 8 ball a little bit. I was like, man, I'm going to have to start, I'm going to going up right away. And then right away I thought, okay, was this next target going to be a 14? Because we didn't know the lay of the course. We didn't know if the next target was going to be a 14 target or is this going to be a 12 or shoot for a center 10.
See, I had the list with me. I didn't print it off. I wrote it down.
Okay.
So I kind of looked at that and I put question marks on 30-yarders for 14s and which one I planned on shooting on. Toward the end, would I shoot this 40-yarder if I need a point? So I kind of had a little game plan there.
Yep, and that was a smart move on your part.
Right.
Because unfortunately I didn't think of that. And so I thought, I'll just do it like I do an ASA tournament. I don't really
target for target.
Yeah, I just go up to target, look at it, and see what I should shoot, and go from there. You know. So the only thing I wish I would have done today was on those 14s. I wish they'd have been orange.
Yeah, the pink's kind of hard to see.
I had a hard time seeing it. Maybe the young guys were okay, but for me, like on the tan targets, like the Spanish goats, the deer, and some of those others, especially when they're laid up in that corner, it was already out of play for me because I couldn't see it.
What about, we talked in our group, what about light blue or blue color? Some people may not like it with the blue fibers, but they'd be a color that would show up.
I think both that could be orange.
I think they could be one.
Why not? Because you can say if you're going for the 14, you throw your card down, and then you hit the 14, it's 14. Okay. At least that would, I think it'd be a little bit more helpful, and maybe a few more guys might actually try for it.
Right. Feeding off what you said, I shot with Alan Connor. He tore it up today, having a great round.
Yes, he did. He shot really well.
He shot an 8 on the second or third the moose, the third target, and 2 10s before that, and then he comes back and shoots a 14, got himself back into it, and he just tore it up. No more 8s the rest of the day, and like you said, feeding off each other. I had Alan there pushing me. Mm-hmm. And we even said as we're going, like, this is good for us.
Yep, that helps.
He was like 2 points ahead of me, and I had 12 of them to catch him. Every time I 12 a target, he 12 a target. So it kept me real aggressive in aiming hard at him. So that was really, I think that was beneficial for me.
And like you said, I shot with one of the two guys that were in my group was Roger Willett.
Yep,
a former
shooter.
A former FIDA champion and Reading champion.
Yep.
Which is today's style of shooting was a lot like Reading for the most part. It's just that we had a lot smaller dots, and we didn't have the option of 14. And we had Darren Collins, who just took second out at Reading, and who's the indoor national champion.
Louisville.
So, kind of piggybacking on what you said, the guys that can shoot this tournament usually well are the ones that don't make any mistakes. That's crucial. That's number one. 2, the guys that have perfected their form, that have really strong shots and can aim well. They have a bow that's set up that can hold well, aim well, even in the wind. But we had some advantage with the wind today because you had some people that, we had umbrellas. Right. And there wasn't a rule that you only had one umbrella.
Right, you could have multiple. All you wanted.
So I told the guys when we got out into the field, we're going to create an igloo. So we had an umbrella here, we had an umbrella here, and we had them intertwined so that you could have a little bit of a pocket. But still, once that arrow got 20 yards out of the bow, there was the wind.
Yeah, the wind was crazy.
So having those 2 guys in my group, I knew that they would probably be contenders. And so I knew if I kept close to them, I should be okay, because I decided we didn't have a scoreboard, so I didn't know what you were doing, or Alan, or Tony Taz, or whoever else. And so I figured, And going into this day, I think you and I spoke before. We thought maybe 20 up would have been a good number.
Right. Yeah.
And 18 was the number.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
so
a really good number.
and I think if the wind would have played a little bit as much as it did, and a couple other little situations, I think all the scores would have been up just a little bit higher.
And speaking of the range, somebody did the numbers, and I think our average was 49.2 yards. So when for you people at home, it's like, knowing this, and maybe you guys should shoot a lot higher. Well, when you're shooting at little 12s and we're shooting out to 80 yards, we shot quite a few in the 60s and the 70s. I think that's a pretty good score.
I do too. And even though it was highlighted, you could see it with the orange and everything, but still what happens is you had 5 guys in a group.
Yeah.
And most people weren't shooting for the 14s, at least in my group.
No.
Someone said you had 2-3 arrows there right there, and you had arrows crisscrossing and stuff. And you know the deal. You hit the back of that pin bushing or whatever, and there you got a 5 or an 8. So you had to kind of play safe sometimes. And only at one time we had a situation where one guy went for a 14 because the 12's kind of blocked, and unfortunately he shot an 8 low. But that was kind of his only play, or just shoot a 10 and not give up anything.
Yep.
You
gotta
know?
take it out. So tomorrow we're gonna most likely be shooting in the rain.
Yeah,
As
most
long as
likely.
there's no thunder. So is there anything that you're gonna do different? Maybe a little more hairspray or anything different?
No, I'm pretty waterproof. This old skin is pretty weathery, and I don't know about you. You might have to.
I gotta wear a hat.
Yeah, you gotta wear a hat. That's for sure. But any case, only thing I'm gonna do tomorrow is try to keep my lens dry. I'm not gonna pull my lens on my scope. I'm gonna still shoot my lens, and I'm gonna get there probably just a little bit earlier. I'm gonna pull my peep because I always shoot a clarifier. Shoot a number 1 clarifier. And I'll put in a different peep without a clarifier in it just to see what my impact point is, and if I hit a little bit high, low, whatever. But that's only a change or any modification that I'm going to do tomorrow in case it does rain.
Right.
And then obviously just keep your stuff as dry as possible.
And mine's a lot like yours because I shoot a verifier because I don't see well right here. So I use a verifier to clear up my pin, which is real blurry. So try to keep my lens dry, keep my verifier clean, and I've got a replaceable verifier if I need to put it in. And go from there. I'm excited about it. And, I think the problem is that when we shoot this rain like this, everything takes longer. You got to get your bow umbrella off. You got to get your umbrella down. You got to wrestle with this here. So it really, when you feel that you get to the stage, you feel like you're rushing more. You used up so much time.
Yeah, you do. And not only that, they said we had a minute once we stepped into the box.
Right.
2 minutes for the original,
Yes.
the first shooter. I didn't really see anybody really timing us today. But the own groups police themselves pretty much with the letdown rule. Because in this particular tournament, you got 2 letdowns, and on the third shot, you had to let it go.
Right.
And I like that. I wish they would.
I
wish they would impose that in the ASA, because as you know, in the ASA, you got a time limit.
Yes.
But nobody wants to.
It's never enforced.
No. And there's people that let down maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and things of that nature. Sometimes it really bogs it down.
So it slows down your rhythm, lose your rhythm.
Yep.
So, and we had a guy in our group, a good friend of mine, and he was let down twice. So we're all kind of looking like, does he know? So I said, hey, as a friend, I just want to let you know, it's got a fire on this one.
Right.
That's coming from a good place, not a bad place. I'm telling you, it's
Right.
It's got a fire. That way they don't let down and say, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, as a group, you should help each other.
Yeah,
I think as a group, then y'all win, y'all do good. And Liz, I heard a story from the guy I'm rooming with. On the very first start, the guy shot a 14, but he never threw his 14 card down. So he ended up taking an 8. Even though he hit the 14.
Ouch. That's
just
the
a
rules.
it's just a bad mistake, but you live from your mistakes sometimes, so.
Well, awesome. That was, that's really neat. I didn't know what to expect out of this. I'm enjoying myself. Of course, if you shoot well, you do enjoy yourself. But Samantha and Levi have done a great job here. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and maybe it won't be like wet ducks out there. And maybe that's be really cool to make it to the shoot-off.
Yeah. In fact, I almost forgot that we had a shoot-off. I was, I'm so used to like IBO. We just came from West Virginia last week, and where that final arrow that determines the winner. But here, it's just like ASA. You just got to get in that top 5, and then see what happens after that.
Maybe make a move out there.
Exactly.
Can't be worse than 5th. So
Exactly.
great. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks for letting me know.
Masters, we're just here to bring you all the info we can, and again, we're at the OPA, and talk to you tomorrow. If you want to see this information, go to thebowmasters.com. THE bowmasters.com, and we got a lot of stuff on there for you to check out.